with just 17 minutes of delay, we can start. But hey, this is Cyprus, and it's Saturday, so it's okay, right? Thank you all for coming here. Andrea, did you start it? Basically, you're all gonna see the behind the scenes always, because we want to keep it real. Anyway, I am Maria. This is Andreas.
Hello.
Thank you for coming here. I don't have a clicker. You're gonna be clicking for me?
No.
No, thank you. So, first things first. This is Google Developer Group Cyprus. GCG is an initiative started by Google, and there are, click next, there are communities all over the world. It's a non-profit, well, it's not even an organization, it's just communities that developers begin in every country for developers to come together and learn and grow and get to meet each other. We're here to basically learn as much as we can. Most of our talks are technical. Right now in Cyprus, actually, you don't find lots of tech talks. There is a mixture of business and entrepreneurial, and these are very lovely, and we need them as well. But we also want some more technical content, and hopefully this day is going to be itching that desire. What do we have next? So 6 years ago, Andreas and I decided in London that, hey, we should bring this in Cyprus. And Andrea, what happened after that?
I remember we started in Larnaca with a meetup, and we didn't know how much people would show up, but the room was packed, as you can see. With the only venue that could host us was the Makerspace in Larnaca, so I had to drive all the way to Larnaca, even though it's not one of the main cities like Nicosia and Limassol. But thank you to everyone who came. I don't know if anyone that came that year is still with us now.
Raise hands. Anyone?
Except for one. Yes.
I see one. Woo!
Okay. Well, we started then. Now this is maybe our biggest event. So thank you for that. And we are now 6 years in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And the starting organizing group are these people here that you can see.
Yeah, actually, we just wanted to say thank you for the first people who joined us, because we wouldn't be able to make this without them. So thank you, Michalis and Galatia. We're going to send them this video afterwards.
And we have a new initiative, that we would like to show it to you. We have a new WhatsApp group. I hope everybody could pick up your phone, scan the QR code, and join this new WhatsApp group to hear all about the latest news we have for you.
We hate spams more than you, so we're not going to spam you in this group.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen in this group? We have subgroups. You're gonna, most of them are only announcement-led, so people are not gonna be spamming, but there is one spamming group. Basically, there is nobody there now. But if you join, you can chat. So if you want to chat. If you join that, then you get notifications. If you don't, then it's quiet.
And you can meet each other there.
Yeah. So what is this number? Dun, dun, dun.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. It's the number of members that we have now in GCG Cyprus. And that's a lot. I know some people now grew older and they don't care, and maybe they're not here anymore, but I don't know. But that's a big number. And I just wanted to show this because I want to say we need help. Next slide. We need help. There are so many things that we can do if we have more hands, more ideas, people who are passionate to grow this community. So if you want to contribute, if you want to get involved, please, I'm so happy I see phones going up. Yes, please fill in this form. Let us know how you want to help. And we want to do many more things. English, many more things. So yeah, I hope I get a lot of emails from this. I'm gonna wait a bit more so people can take the photo. And
you can also find it in our Linktree page.
And of course, we're gonna send it in the WhatsApp group, which is always gonna be here, so you can join. Okay, cool. We can move on. This is the team right now. This is the organizing team. I see one standing there, two. Where is your partner? Who are the organizers here? Andrea, raise your hand. The other ones are hiding.
Two Michaels are
there in the registration. There it is, Mike up there. Quick introductions. Andreas Lefkat is here. He's a DevOps lead in Hellenic. He's also an instructor at Qubit Academy, and he's the host of Hack Cyprus podcast.
We have Maria, engineering manager. She's also an instructor at Qubit, and she's also the co-founder of Sequela. We have Andreas Loizou, who is sitting there in the camera, founder and managing director of Qubit Technologies, and also an instructor at Qubit Academy. We have Michalis Mavris and Mike Geru, the co-founders of Page Blue Apps. And we also have Nicolas Ioannou, who couldn't make it here today, who is a senior Android developer at Plum. So thank you guys for the contributions over the years. And we couldn't make this event without you.
Has anyone attended a DevFest before? Yes? 1, 2, 3. Wow. 4, 5, 6. It's like an auction. Okay, let's go for a 7. Okay, so for a lot of people, this is new. DevFest is again an initiative from Google. They are encouraging GCGs to run an annual event for developers. In this event, we have the opportunity to bring Google developer experts. These are developers who took a few tests, did a few interviews to prove their expertise in a subject matter. And today with us, we're going to have 2 Google developer experts who flew over from Spain and Sweden as well to share their expertise. Google is helping us, is helping us to bring these people over here. We're looking forward to meet them later on and hear their talks. And this event, it's sponsored by Google and Genius, and it's in partnership with Unique, Pale Apps, Qubit Technologies, Hack Cyprus Podcast. This was your slide, right? I forgot.
Maybe.
Yeah. Cool.
So thank you to our sponsors.
Thank you.
This is the agenda.
It's very small, but you're gonna see it now happening in real life.
I don't know
so
if you can.
We can skip it.
But we can start first.
We can start. So first, we have Liza, co-founder and CTO at Malloc. Liza, come up. I just want to say, when I was talking with Liza, I was like, okay, you are building Malloc with Maria and her name, your third co-founder? Artemis. I'm sure you had loads of challenges that were not being solved anywhere else. Can you talk about those things? It would be really, really cool. And she said, yes. So here we are. The stage is yours.
Thank you. It's a journey, guys. It's a journey.
It is a journey. I'm going to put the slides very quickly.
I'm not very loud, so if you struggle to hear me, then just...
There is an issue with the map. Yes.
This works
Fine.
better.
What is the issue? What does... Story of my life.
Lisa, is this okay for you? Is this okay for you? If you come here, they can hear you on this one.
I hate those mics.
Until we sort it out.
But I can make it work for you.
But if you stand here, no, here.
I'll do it.
Test.
Testing 1, 2.
Oh wow. Okay, I'm leaving. Sorry.
Okay. I'll do some radio afterwards. That'll be fine. So, how do I do that in English?
Hang on. Sorry, I'm gonna give you this.
Well, Windows background. Yeah.
And I'm gonna give you this one as well.
Make it worse. Do you have a lip sync as well? Which one works now?
It's a different thing. That's
okay. So, I'm Liza, the CTO of Malloc. Before Malloc, I was a research engineer. I have a PhD in data analysis. I've come to work on many projects, European-funded projects, but never got to see the impact of those projects. You know, those projects, they develop a prototype that works, ish, But you never get to realize it. You make plans for commercialization, we can do that, this, but it never works. You never get to see it happening. So we decided to change this, and I was trying to come up with a title for this presentation, and I think breaking the mold and escaping the the ordinary and what we are used to up to now, I think was an appropriate title, because if you want to break the mold, you need to innovate, and innovation starts with the unknown. So we need to face unknown things. And Malok started with this idea: is it possible to prevent unattended data recordings and transmissions in real time while still offering a personalized experience? We wanted users to know what happens on their phones, what data we share, with whom we share this data. So we thought that, okay, what can I monitor on my phone? If I monitor my sensors, my camera and microphone, if I monitor the behavior of the apps on my phone, which app is active, what permissions they have, what libraries they embed, if I monitor the network traffic, what they send out, the times they're active, this sort of thing, if I manage to classify the sort of traffic that goes out, is it ads related? What is it about? So and kind of make it to be the first to market, to make it succeed, because it's never fun to be second. So but then which market do I target? The security market, I mean, it's an ever growing market. Year after year it grows more and more. Now we are around $250 billion, so it's a quite big market. But the privacy concerned individuals, the security privacy market is a niche market. So it's a very small percentage of that. And we had to do something that works equally well on iOS and Android. And this gets us to where we're here now. So the idea started late 2019. We had our first MVP, the minimum viable product. We decided that how can we easily show people that the idea we have works and is of their interest. We did the camera microphone monitoring, and we released that very rough app on Play Store. We got some traction very quickly. At the same time, we applied to Y Combinator. In 2 days, we got featured by the Play Store for 2 days, and we got 30K downloads. We were a free app back then. And we used that to pursue Y Combinator to accept us. And we got in. So at that moment, we managed to, as a Cyprus company, we managed to get into Y Combinator, but we needed rapid growth. And Cyprus cannot compete with the US. We don't have the same resources. We needed to come up with something, an idea that will allow us to enter the wider security market and gain more, let's say, traction. So in 2022, we launched our network monitoring blocking features, our remote VPN service, and we also managed to release our iOS app. So bear in mind that we're a very small team. So it was a huge task. In 2023, our Android app reaches 1 million downloads. And then in 2024, we started focusing on scalability and sustainability. And the topics I want to speak to you about today, and I think it will be of your interest, is so the build fast and refine later approach. That it has some pros, but also some cons. I'll show you some examples to showcase what I mean. The unknown, what happens when you dive into, it's a leap of faith, essentially, to develop something you're not an expert on and try to become an expert on and provide something the user wants. Traction and the challenges of scaling a monolithic VPN architecture, because that's how it started. We started with an MVP. Then the process of modernizing the architecture, balancing legacy with new infrastructure and privacy concerns. A scalable paradigm that was, they seemed ideal in our view, but failed due to constraints from cloud providers. And a new approach, a modern architecture to provide our on-device VPN and scalable JK infrastructure for our remote VPN. I will finish with some takeaways as well. And I forgot to set my timer. So I'll give myself less time now. Bear with me. Yeah. I'm that sort of person that times myself. That's fine. Let's go. So, build fast, refine later. Building for validation, refactoring for scalability. So the idea is that we try to think of the one thing that we think, much thinking and many assumptions. We believe the user will be concerned, they need, and we try to develop that without thinking much about the rest of the features. So we build the core functionality just to test it. We take many shortcuts to deploy, to minimize the deployment time, and that comes at the expense of technical optimization. So the idea is to be able to test it fast, and then after you have validated that your MVP works, meaning that you have gained some traction, because in startups, traction is very important. If you don't get traction, that means that you haven't managed to find users, to attract users that are interested in your solution. So after the MVP is validated, you focus on scaling the product and always refactoring or sometimes creating something new that, a better version of what you had. So we deploy a lean startup methodology, meaning that we focus only on the things that matter and that have impact, and the fail fast approach. So if something doesn't work, then we scrub it and then go to something else. Yeah. So as I said earlier, in 2022, we had to scale fast and we had to gain more users. And we thought, okay, we have done our camera microphone thing, but the thing that most users are interested in is monitoring their network traffic. And what can we do about it? Can we use AI to gain insights on that? So at the time, there was no clear solution that was doing what we're trying to do. Of course, there are VPNs out there. They're not as personalized or customizable as our version. And we took the leap of faith and tried to do our MVP with Ubuntu instances on AWS back then to build our prototype VPN service. So when you're building a VPN service, okay, I have background in networking and communications. Okay, that's my background, but I never had to build a VPN from scratch. So the thing that tackled the unknown, we thought, okay, let's do it on instances and let's try to use as much Dockerization as possible. But VPN is not very easy to be Dockerized from the get-go and be able to add all those services that we wanted as well. We wanted to analyze the traffic, we wanted to categorize it, we wanted to block things, we wanted to learn things from it. So the idea was to create a system capable of blocking malicious content and giving users the insight to what content they share and empower them, let's say, to know how to share their data and control it. So think of a moment where traction is both a curse and a blessing. So you released an MVP, it was a success, but it was way too successful. So you have too much to bite and you cannot handle it. That's a problem. I think sometimes it's a bigger problem if you have a small team and limited resources to make it happen. So the idea, the first MVP was this one. We have a gateway that it's actually a server that tells you which servers are available for you, which countries are available for you to connect. And then that service was doing some, let's say, reasoning on which server would be more ideal to assign you to. And then it would give you the details to connect that server directly. Once you have the information for your VPN server, it would give you the configuration. We use the WireGuard protocol, if anyone is familiar with it. So the client connects to the tunnel, The traffic goes through our VPN server. We process the traffic, we extract information, and then we return this information to the user. We operated from the very first day with a no logs policy, meaning that we didn't retain, even back then, traffic. Everything would be deleted. But we had the issue that our solution was monolithic, meaning that if I wanted to provide new servers, new services, I had to deploy new instances. And deploying new instances means that I need to come up with weird strategies to update them. We had to invest in automating the process. We had to know even our weakest link, what could cause the whole thing to come down. Fault tolerance in VPN systems is very low. So even a few seconds of latency is an issue, because if you're connected to a VPN and you're browsing something and your connection goes out, you will immediately know it. So there's no tolerance to that. And we found out infrastructure costs and costs that you don't expect. So we were amazed to find out that it's not let's say, the cost of instances, because back then we were working with credits. Our largest cost was the network, the use of the network. And it was a time that we moved from AWS to Google Cloud, and we figured out that when you create a new project, I think by default is set to the premium tier, networking tier. Yay! Having a VPN service with the premium tier is not the best thing, let me tell you. And then, because as I said, you create your MVP in a way that you think is what the user wants. So you need to keep your eyes and ears open to hear what your users want. And our users were facing issues with IPv4 filtering. So in certain countries, they're banned from using social media and services. So if we are advertising to be a worldwide VPN, so we need to find ways to get away with it. And the way to get away with it is to enable IPv6. So all our servers had to become a dual stack servers, and it's not as simple as it sounds. It's not as simple as issuing an IPv6 address and it's not like that. They also demanded their own regions. So if someone was looking to connect to the VPN and didn't have their country available, then they would leave a 1-star review, meaning that you're not in my country, so I cannot use you, you suck. And reviews are, they're powerful. We also had the issue of anonymity and optimization versus optimization, because we're no logs service. We don't keep information about who is connecting to where, meaning that if you connected to a country and then you disconnected and then you connected to a different country, I didn't know I had to check in each server if you're there. So we had certain limitations in knowing who is connected to where, and that caused a problem. So that was another thing to solve, especially with users using our service for crypto mining, which didn't make it fair for others to use the service. So all these things made it difficult to manage costs. As I said, we went through cloud provider migration. Different cloud providers work in a different way, so that led to a bottleneck. We had to change something, and we had to do it very quickly. So we needed a scalable, cost-efficient, and fault-tolerant solution, which led to modernization. The first thing that came into our head is, okay, if I make our service fully Dockerized, and if I deploy things serverless, maybe it will work. But you cannot scrap the old infrastructure and create the new one. You have to do it at the same time, so that adds complexity. And is it always possible to Dockerize monolithic applications? Is it so easy to do it with things that have to do with network heavy things? When you operate a VPN, you cannot, let's say, So the connection needs to remain at the same, let's say it needs to be serviced from the same pod if you're using Kubernetes. You cannot, migrate the transmission from pod to pod or to. So yeah, Cloud Run is out of the question because it cannot operate a VPN. It only works for HTTP traffic. So we had a number of things to solve. And at the time, we were working with Google because we entered the Google Accelerator program. So we would get some ideas and knowledge from them. So we thought that, okay, if networking cost is our larger cost, then how about we do a DNS instead? So instead of transferring all your traffic through the VPN, we have a DNS that is specialized for you, it's personalized, and only your traffic goes through there. DNS is, so if you want to, if anyone doesn't know, if you want to connect to a website, you request the DNS server to tell you which address you need to contact. DNS traffic can be unencrypted. Nowadays, most of it is encrypted, so we surely wanted to offer an encrypted version of our DNS. So even requesting for the IP, even the information about which websites you request is also encrypted. When we came up with this, we thought that's the ideal thing. Let's go, let's do it. I mean, it will minimize our costs. It will be very lightweight. DNS, requests are very small, so not much traffic. This is a solution. So each user would have access to their own dedicated DNS server. We had issues with compatibility again. Android would work with DNS over TLS, but iOS needed DNS over HTTPS. So different ways of doing the encryption. And the DNS servers would do all the blocking. We had our app on the user's phone, so we would be able to handle the rest with the monitoring of apps, etc. So the idea is that as soon as the user subscribes to our service, we do the onboarding, meaning that we have a dedicated pod that comes up and services their device. The issue is that for that to work, you need to know a fixed IP as your DNS. So this is one thing. And the other thing is that we need to maintain a pod for each user. Two things. So we thought, okay, we can handle the dynamic pod management. We want to keep each pod separately. We want to keep each user's traffic private, but why can't we make it work? Why is it an issue? And then while working with Google developers and during the accelerator program, it was apparent that there's IP address limits. You cannot issue as many IPs as you would like, especially public-facing IPs. And there's also a cluster pod limit. So your cluster can scale up to, I think, 5,000. You cannot go beyond 5,000 users, pods. In our case, users, but we had more than 5,000 users. So this is something we could, even though we developed the whole thing, we were in the testing phase. We managed to overcome issues with the apps connecting to it. We couldn't make it public because of these limitations. So the next thing was, okay, let's think something else. Can I bring the DNS on the device? I mean, why not? There are ways to do that. So can we do that? And then we figured out about on-device VPN, which essentially is, so your device, your apps, don't communicate directly with the network. There is on your device a tunnel that processes the traffic, does the traffic management locally, it does the blocking locally, and it keeps your privacy as well. So it means that we don't need to send information. You don't need a remote DNS, a custom DNS. You can use any DNS you want, but the monitoring, the blocking is done on your device. So lower cost, you keep your IP, unfortunately, and for some people this is a problem. There's no need to transmit data remotely, but we need to find a way to send our intelligence on your device regularly. So the modern infrastructure came as a two-tier thing, because many users wanted the remote thing and they wanted to unlock content from different countries. We did the following. We had, just a minute. We had the on-device VPN to do the blocking. It was the cornerstone of our infrastructure. And then we used the remote VPN. We developed a scalable Kubernetes pass-through VPN, so no processing, nothing very fancy there, that scales dynamically. We have a cluster for each country. It's a very lean, let's say, deployment. Now there's no restriction of having a pod for each user. The only restriction is that users have the pods that service our users have access to the tunnel configuration. And we have overcome this issue with an NFS setup. It was a bit of a tricky thing to do because we needed read-write many access to our disk, and we had to ensure that our disk is always up and there's only one instance of the disk. And as the nodes scale horizontally, we had to ensure only one instance of that disk is there. But we managed to come up with something that works for us. And the key takeaway, I think, is if something doesn't work, then pivot, scrub it. You have worked for a month or 2 months on something, it's okay. If something doesn't work, it doesn't work. I cannot change Google and find, I need to find a different thing. So our principles, build fast, build first, define later, be able to recognize technical creep. We knew from the very beginning that the monolithic design had issues. So it was a matter of trade-off. Do we allow it to grow? So because we are a very new startup, so do we allow it to grow for a bit and then we come up with a solution? Or do we break it down very quickly and then we spend the time to modernize it and then see if we manage to get the traffic that we lost? So in our case, we allowed it to grow, to make people get to know us and then to modernize it. Technical debt is a thing. So if you create an MVP, you need to think of how much effort will it take me to make it run scalably, flexibly. As I said, embrace the culture of rapid prototyping with iterative feedback. Our DNS solution was ideal to us at the beginning, but it's not something that it can work in real life. You have restrictions. And we went beyond state of the art. So we combined 2 VPNs at the same time to make it work, to make our solution sustainable, and to keep our users happy. So they had their own device, private solution, but the ones that want to change their IP, they will be able to change it. That's it. I didn't go very much over the, the time, I think. So. Shoot me with any questions or anything that I wasn't clear about.
We have some minutes for questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a broken microphone.
What would you have done differently? Like if you were to go back in time?
When we first joined the Y Combinator, we had a very early an issue with Egypt. I can't remember the exact issue. And we went to our mentors there and we told them we're facing this issue. And their answer was, is the Egypt market very important to you? And our answer was no. Okay, so since the majority of our users are in the US, so around 70% of our revenue is from the US. If I could revert the time back, I wouldn't care about IPv6. I wouldn't care about making everything full stack and trying to please everybody. So I would make my app not available in those countries. It's not very sensitive, but from a business perspective, This is what I would do. From a, let's say, yeah. From a technical perspective, I would push for the. I would implement. I would build the team differently, so that we push the scalable part sooner. But none of us was expert in VPN, and it's not very easy to find someone that is expert on VPN. And so we did our best on what we had, and I learned a lot. I couldn't sleep for years. At some time, we ended up with 70 instances, and oh God, think of what happened managing 70 instances. Even for some reason, I mean, Google Cloud was doing some sort of maintenance around midnight, and in our time was 3, 4 in the morning, and I was like, oh, I mean, every night I went to bed, I had in mind to wake up at 3 in the morning to see if anything happened. You come up with very creative ways to monitor, guys. So, yes, please.
One thing I would mention that you said is where you said that you would put the scalable option first. I think it's very difficult to know at the beginning that that's the right option, right? So you're always going to go to the wrong thing and then adapt it as well.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm interested in is how did you manage the technical debt after the initial release? Did you opt for, right, we've done what we've done, let's start again with the new option, or was it more of a let's refactor, let's get rid of the old one slowly and implement around it?
So, as Maria said, I have 2 more co-founders. Maria, the other co-founder, is very ambitious. Okay, you cannot limit her. She's like an animal in a cage. So I had to be the cage. And at some point, I had to set foot and say, no more new functionality. Give me some time to Dockerize what we have now to see if I encounter any issues that would prevent us from doing that. I mean, other companies did it. So I know it's doable to have a VPN that is Dockerized, but can we do it the way we have it for so much customization and users being able to even block specific websites and, this sort of thing? So what I did is froze developments at some point, did the Dockerized version. Then I came to realize that even the Dockerized version of that product wouldn't work, wouldn't be sustainable. So that moment we said, okay, we've done so much work, we cannot go further with that. We need to find something else. That's why I came up with the private DNS thing. That didn't work, even though as an idea was great. I mean, it would be lightweight, it would be private, yeah. So it's a matter of being brave and scrubbing work. We've learned so many things from this process of, even with the private DNS, we gained so much technical knowledge from that. So nothing is a loss. It's a matter of perspective, I think. Yeah.
Is there a policy concern about gaining this information, about tracking all the camera access or networking access?
I didn't get the third. Is it there?
Is it a policy concern?
Policy concern.
Yes, because now, for example, phones say that you use camera and microphone.
There is the page that reports which app uses your camera or microphone, but how often do you look at it? How often do you see changes in permissions? And how often do you get to correlate the network activity of an app with if they have access to your camera or microphone? You have certain information. I mean, for the camera and microphone, you know when an app used your sensor, but you need to go in and look for it, and you don't know if that app transmitted information. So it's you don't know the whole thing. And if you want to be in control of what you share, then you definitely need more than that, and you cannot block it. So that's the. Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure to be here with you. It's my first time joining the community. So I really look forward to the rest of the talks.
Thank you very much, Liza.